Why black people don't eat everybody's food. Picture this. It's a summer cookout. The music is just right. Frankie Beverly and Maze drifting through the air. A card game of spades is being played, kids running through sprinklers, and paper plates stacked high with ribs, cornbread, and Auntie Diane's baked beans. But over in the corner, someone stops mid-step with a scoop of potato salad on their fork. They lower it slowly and whisper,
Who made this?
No.
I don't eat everybody's food.
Yes, you heard that correctly. This is a phrase that black folks say without hesitation, sometimes with pride, sometimes with side-eye, but always with meaning. And for those who didn't grow up hearing it, the phrase might seem silly, overly cautious, judgmental, or even rude. But like so many sayings in the black community, that simple sentence is soaked in history. It's not just about taste or germs, it's about memory, it's about survival, it's about generational trauma. Scope News does a deep dive into the history, the trauma, and the truth behind one of the most common phrases in the black community. A phrase that means way more than it seems. Because black folks learned a long time ago that food is never just food. You can't just eat at everybody's house. Social media has only made things worse. Every other day, there's a video showing someone, usually white, letting their dog lick the spoon, lick the plate, even eat from the same fork. Then they kiss the dog on the mouth like it's nothing. You've got folks who don't wash their hands after using the bathroom, who cook barefoot with pets on the counter, and who proudly show it off online like it's cute. It's enough to make your stomach turn. So when a black person says, "I don't eat at everybody's house," it ties directly into this. It's not just about what you're serving, it's about how you're living. And we've seen enough to know not everyone holds the same standards. Imagine being a guest at someone's house and using their bathroom, only to learn that their tub was filthy after eating their cooking. Back in the days of slavery, the food given to enslaved Africans was an act of cruelty in itself. Rancid meat, moldy cornmeal, scraps of animal parts that white folks wouldn't touch. And yet, black folks had no choice but to make a meal out of it. Even worse, some were forced to serve as tasters, risking their lives to make sure the master's meal wasn't poisoned. If someone wanted to test the safety of a dish, they'd give it to a black person first. If you dropped dead, they'd know not to eat it. That's not a myth. That's a documented practice. After slavery, the dynamic didn't change much. During Jim Crow, black people couldn't eat in restaurants, but they could cook in them. They worked as maids, nannies, housekeepers, cooks, preparing food for white families that wouldn't even share a table with them. At the same time, those same white families were suspicious. There were countless stories spread in southern towns about the help putting something in the food. Jealousy, spite, spells. Whether it was true or not didn't matter. The stigma stuck. So in the black community, being careful about whose food you eat became a form of protection. And it wasn't just about white folks. It extended inward. Because if someone could harm you through food, intentionally or not, you had to be selective. And that's where the unspoken kitchen rules came from. You don't eat from just anybody's house. You don't taste everything at the potluck. And you sure don't try something if you didn't see who made it. It's why to this day, some people still whisper, "She don't wash her chicken," like it's a criminal offense. But behind the gossip is a code, a deep one. Black kitchens have always been sacred. In a world where so much was taken, our land, our language, our freedom, the kitchen was one of the few places we could create something for ourselves. Recipes passed down not through books, but through memory. By watching your grandmother pinch seasoning with love. By knowing the smell that meant the roux was just right. By learning that soul food wasn't about what you had. It was about what you did with what you had. So when someone disrespects that space, when their hygiene is off, when their vibe ain't right, that's a threat. And it gets rejected without a second thought. Even deeper than that, in some black spiritual traditions, food can be used as a vessel for healing or for harm. Hoodoo, root work, Southern conjure, they all hold the belief that intentions can be stirred into a pot. That spells can be slipped into a meal. that enemies can feed you something meant to spiritually break you. Some folks were warned never to eat food made by someone who was angry, jealous, or in mourning. Not because it's superstition, but because it's survival. That's why Black folks have historically been selective. You don't eat just because it smells good. You eat because you know the person who made it. Because you've been in their house. Because you've seen their spirit. That's the only seasoning that matters. And then there's the practical part. Some people don't clean their kitchens. Some people let cats on the counters. Some folks don't wash their hands or their greens. And when you've grown up with a mama who made you scrub collards leaf by leaf, the idea of eating food from a dirty kitchen is unbearable. Imagine seeing a white woman on social media letting her dog lick her dinner plate, then setting that same plate down for guests. Black folks certainly don't play that. Black families have fought too hard to shake the stereotypes of being unclean to let their standards drop. That's why you'll still see folks bring their own food to the office potluck, or skip the potato salad altogether if they didn't see it made with gloved hands. It's not shade, it's protection. And in a time where people are still getting sick from undercooked dishes or mystery ingredients, that cautious instinct still serves a purpose. There's also the health side: diabetes, food allergies, pork hidden in places it shouldn't be, shellfish snuck into pasta. When you don't know the cook, you don't know the risk. And sometimes it's not even about the food, it's about the person. Black folks know that not everyone who smiles at you wants the best for you. So eating someone's food is a type of intimacy, a form of trust. And if you don't trust them, you don't eat. Simple as that. So the next time you hear someone say, "I don't eat everybody's food," know that it's not coming from nowhere. It's coming from a legacy of caution, of wisdom, of centuries spent navigating danger with dignity. It's a phrase passed down like a recipe, seasoned with side-eye, stirred with survival, and served with a heaping scoop of truth. It might sound funny, but to Black folks, it's deadly serious. Because food isn't just about filling your stomach. It's about knowing whose hands touched your plate, and whether or not those hands mean you harm or healing. And if you can't answer that, then you already know what to say. Scope News tells the truth. Here are the facts. Special thanks to Black oral tradition, Dr. Jessica B. Harris's research on culinary trauma, the Gullah Geechee Cultural Archives, testimony from former domestic workers in the Library of Congress, TikTok elders sounding off on hygiene horror stories, and historic Southern cookbooks from the Reconstruction era. Some insight also drawn from PBS's Soul Food Junkies documentary and the Smithsonian's Oral History Project on Food and Freedom. Legal disclaimer. This Scope News report is intended for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. The content reflects cultural commentary, oral tradition, and historical research. Viewer discretion is advised, particularly when discussing racism, enslavement, and spiritual beliefs. Scope News makes every effort to preserve truth, acknowledge gaps in source material, and honor the lived experiences behind the stories we tell.